So join me today as we talk about how to move from reality to design, right? And for me, that first step actually lies in the reality itself, because reality is actually information, right? And you want to understand what you're drawing in order to make the step actually to design. So here I am, I'm doing a study, basically, of the arm through the act of drawing. Here on this right-hand side, I'm just going through the tricep. Here's the bicep. I'm coming down the back, getting in the elbow right there. Right, here's the other side of the tricep. So you want to have the ability to do this. If you're somebody who's like learning how to draw and you're trying to jump to the drawings on the right, you're missing a step, right? The step here is to actually be able to draw what you see first, right? To draw what you see first. Now I'm going to go over to design. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go off reality and I'm going to start playing with shapes. I'm going to start angling stuff out. So the first shape here is this big shape of curve to straight design. It's force shape design, right? Tone it in. Toning in shapes is really great because it lets you see the shape. Otherwise you see two lines. There's a C and S side to this, curve and straight, right? And now I'm going to go over these asymmetrical biceps. You can see I have that apex versus where the tricep is. And I'm keeping that consistent. There's the deltoid, right? I'm going to bring over these apexes. Now they came from reality, by the way, but I'm going to redraw the sort of the first arm, I guess, the muscular one over here so you can see what I'm doing. So that there is me chopping, right? I call that chopping. I'm chopping out these numerous angles based on reality. There's the asymmetry, or the anchor point of the back of the tricep as I'm starting to create its form. And all the lines are chop, 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 right? Tricep chop. Here I'm looking for overlap, right? So I'm overlapping right here. Very important, and that is about efficiently making shape give you what is in front and what's in back, right? It gives you depth, right? So the more efficient you're trying to be with shape, the more you need to know how to create those overlapping moments, okay? So this is the brachioradialis, which I love. I love this area of the forearm, right? You get this like slug-like shape, this right here that I'm toning in. All right, so it's an S shape right there, all right? Love that. When the arm's in perspective, man, that is an awesome moment to give you form, okay? And then as I make my way down the forearm here, I'm going to shape it out first into its big shape, which we have with that straight to curve. Here's the form on the bottom. That's the ulna sticking out over there. Here's like the hand. I'm putting it into the fist shape that I drew up. You got the deltoid, the tricep, bicep is 3, brachioradialis is 4, and then this big area on the forearm is 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are split up by this right here, the ulna. All right, so that is divided by the ulna, which is a major bone in the forearm. So I'm toning in 5. I want you to see that because now I'm going to break that shape up into smaller shapes. So again, shape is king, but it's forceful shape, and the shape is based on anatomy. That's the extensor digitorum that you see me sketching out there. The tendons for that go out to the 4 fingers of the hand, not the thumb. I'm just toning in the side of the thumb here a little bit. And now we have a family of 3 muscles. Here, I'll go over here first. I split up the left side of the digitorum and the right side. You see there's 2 more shapes there. And this one over here, there's 3 thin muscles that run down here to help with the fingers. And then over here, that gets split up into 2. There's the extensor digitorum and mini-me, and then there's the carpi ulnaris. So that's it, right there it is. We've got our first arm. Now I'm going to show you how did I do arm number 2 and arm number 3. I went through the same process, except I start off with a smaller shape. Here's my straight to curve. It's narrower, right? It's narrower. So that's our big one. Here's small, S-M-A-L-L, small. And I go through the same process. I got my S-curved deltoid, right there. I start chopping out the tricep. Now the tricep, by the way, I am giving it a high apex because the arm is straight, right? It's been straightened out, which means the tricep is flexing. And that's why it should be contracted like that, right? Here's the asymmetry of tricep to bicep right there. So that's what I'm putting over here. It's asymmetry that I'm tracking. So asymmetry between apex is very important. You don't want them to be symmetrical. That will actually kill the flow of force, okay? So I'm plopping down the tricep. There's my elbow again. Here goes the brachioradialis, right? We got our little S-curve shape. Same stuff, just different proportions, right? Same ideas, different proportions. And if you understand the overarching shapes, you understand how to draw force, you understand how to draw form, and you have the anatomy, you understand shape design, the rules of it, then you'll get here. Now, what I did to the right here is I showed you that there's curve and straight. That's what that side of the forearm always looks like, always. And the long side of the elbow has a curve. So you always have a long curve versus a curve and a straight on the thumb side of the forearm, right? So I just know that's the shape I'm after. That is the silhouette that I want to create, all right? Then I could put all these smaller muscles back in here that we did before, you see? So it's systems, guys. It's understanding systems that allows you to be more creative. It's understanding information based on reality and truth, right? And here I am going through the deltoid again. You'll see here is me talking about the similarity between the deltoid and the brachioradialis are both S shapes, right? So we're gonna go do our last one, super skinny arm. Here's my straight, here's my curve, right? Let's tone this in. Let's get these drawings here. So I grabbed the elbow actually, so I just had a sense of length. So I'm trying to match up to what I had. So all the same muscles, just much thinner, right? Much thinner, really squeezed in there. I got my S deltoid, my S brachioradialis, getting that curve to straight in there, curve on the other side, the bone of the ulna, shaping out the hand, right? All the same ideas, right? If you know the anatomy, force, form, and shape, you can bring that all together, and those are the tools that help you design. This one I did, I remember, a little more rendered. I'm putting all the shadows at the bottoms of the forms, as you can see here. A little different take, so very subtle render. I don't know if I call it a render, but you can see it starts giving us a pattern of light to shadow, right? So this is how it works, guys, right? This is how I created that artwork that you're seeing on the right-hand side. It's really an act of understanding these moments, right? Here's a close-up on the S curve and seeing how there's asymmetry in the S. And that's what helps keep flow occurring, right? That's what keeps it going, is this asymmetry, right? I'm thinking from point to point when I chop. That's the chopping system. Chopping is getting from A to B, and A to B, and A to B. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.